Hey, welcome back. My name is Dino. Thanks for watching this mini lecture. This one's on remediation. It's the second part of a two-part series. This is a continuation of various traits and characteristics of remediation because sometimes we can get too much of a good thing, friends. Better to break it up sometimes. Again, this is about traits revolving with digital content remediation. That was defined, this concept was defined in our last video. Please feel free to look back at that if you haven't seen that one first. Last time we talked about it, adaptation, reuse, redefinition, competition between content mediums, and borrowing. So the first five. Now we're gonna go to the second five. See how five the first time, five the second time. See how logical that is. No. Stop thanking me. I appreciate it. Thank you. Erasure in terms of remediation. Erasure, as you imagine, is related to remediation. This is probably best shown by an example or various examples. In terms of remediation, the home theater seeks to erase the need for a theater. So if you have the home theater, there's no need to go out. You have a subscription to the NewYorkTimes.com, and you have that erases the need for the print version. Or if you have another local paper or a national paper that you like, instead it can whatever that website is can substitute and erase the print version. And if you're a gamer, home video games and gaming systems erase the need for an arcade. So if you have a Xbox, PlayStation, or kicking it old school with a Game Boy, you don't need to go to the arcade. Improvement is also part of remediation. This is a bit of a loaded term because what is improvement? Remediation often involves improvement, or at least the perception that there is when you're engaging with this type of digital media, there is an improvement being done. Something that I'll reiterate in the conclusion: the internet is fantastical, but it doesn't do too much new in terms of the reason most people go for it. They usually go for content. You want to look at a website, you want to see some media, etc. What it does, or at least the perception of it is that it improves access to and interactions with existing content and forms that you could get in other ways that are a little bit less accessible and less interactive. An example of this improvement would be the idea of digital photography. So you contrast analog photography with digital photography. The chemical processes in an analog photography would be contrasted with the digital processes that are more mathematical in digital photography. So as a result, there's a difference. They're both a process. It's just it used to be a chemical process. Now it's more mathematical. Due to this transition to ones and zeros and algorithms and compression algorithms, etc., and image technology, you can develop images immediately. Back in the old days, back when you'd have to get your roll of film, finish the roll, drop it off at the pharmacy, etc., etc. Take a couple days, if not weeks. So that you can do immediately. And then you can also just by looking. So say if you have a smartphone or a DSLR, you can just look at the back of it and see these images right away. You can also edit images immediately if you have a smartphone with most basic social media platforms will allow you to do basic image editing, or if you have a version of Photoshop on your desktop computer or your tablet, you can images pretty quickly once you have access to those images. Absorption is also part of remediation. It's not obvious what absorption is, but it's probably best, again, demonstrated through an example. You can include both. You can include both the before and after, and in terms of absorption. So before there was that entity, then later it was absorbed, and it's all related to, at least arguably, nostalgia. For example, MP3s absorbed compact discs. This is working backward in time, as you'll see. Compact discs absorbed cassette tapes. Before that, cassette tapes absorbed 8-track tapes. 8-track tapes absorbed vinyl records. Vinyl records absorbed radio. Radio absorbed live performances. Man, I'm tired of all that absorption. Absorbed media can continue or return as art or nostalgia. For example, if you go see DJs, I know there's been a transition to digital technology for DJing, but some people still like to kick it old school and use old turntables, and then some people just like say the form factor, on your MP3s, if you're getting it from a site, something back in the day, people really loved album cover art. Like is it, Sure, the designer Sure was a great album cover, and the typography of album covers, and people really liked her typography, and other people who are artists, and like some images of the musicians themselves. So you might find that nostalgic, and you might just like the art of it better. Also, the idea of dialectic, or remediation is often dialectical. New forms of digital content tend to reference one or more forms of earlier media. For example, Netflix remediates and references theaters and television. So basically, the content of a theater, film, content of a television show, you can get that on Netflix. It's remediated and referenced. So basically, it's a theater or television streaming platform. And finally, transcendence. I think that's the universal sound for transcendence. That's also finally part of remediation. Absorption often leads to transcendence. And this goes back to the idea of improvement. Remediated content is perceived as better than it was. For example, when MP3s sort of developed this technology, many people liked it better than vinyl, although some people didn't. When digital comics matured, people also can have a preference for those over print. I don't know the digital comic versus analog comic community, but I'm sure there was people like both. This idea of them being better was probably less true back when the compression technologies, the earphones, and the players were really poor digitally based compared to turntables and high-end stereos. And then digital comics, obviously, when images, when having high resolution scan images and printing of them, or displaying of them on like old displays, they're nowhere near as good as seeing them as compared to the original. But as scanning resolutions have increased, and as display technologies become better and better, obviously it's become at least comparable. Whether it's improved is up to the and whether it's better is up to the eye of the viewer and the person who likes it. From all this, transcendence is often related to cultural values. So in our culture, many people value portability, having your phone with you and having your MP3 player in it. Speed of access, so you can get it anywhere, anytime. Size, the MP3 player, the phone that you might have for your MP3s, it's a lot smaller than carrying around a turntable. And you don't have to carry around a power source. Along the idea of portability, access, people like having access and moving around content. And then similar to that is the idea of interactivity and being able to interact with the content on your players. Finally, in terms of a conclusion, the internet does not do much that is new. Again, I would completely concede that it is fantastical and it's amazing in a lot of ways. But in terms of digital media content, it's not so much new. Instead, it remediates a lot of what is old. For example, content forms in more convenient ways, such as temporally, you don't gotta wait. Spatially, you don't have to go to the record store, you can just download your MP3. Wherever you have Wi-Fi, culturally, people just have a cultural change, it seems, to digital over analog in a lot of ways, and then economically. Most people seem to like things that are a little bit cheaper than back in the old days. That was Remediation Traits, two-part of a multi-part series. Hopefully you like that. Please feel free to like this video. Please feel free to comment. What do you think of remediation? What do you think of the idea of absorption? Is from the idea of absorption, portability, a lower size or smaller size, better access, etc.? Do you think that's quote unquote an improvement? Are there reasons why people like older analog technology? Do you like older analog technology? Are you nostalgic for certain things in terms of media content? Why are we nostalgic? Please feel free to comment on any of those issues or anything that you would like. Thanks for watching. As always, please feel free to subscribe to this channel if you like this type of content. Take care. Thanks for watching.